Hey Pyros, 𝗬𝗲 here at Elite Fireworks. Guys, this is my first in-store tour that I'm unfortunately not doing a store tour of Elite Fireworks of Texas. Matter of fact, this is a brand new store, so if you have been following the journey here for Elite Fireworks, you do know that now there is an Elite Fireworks in the East Coast. So if you have been watching our YouTube channel, you do notice that 𝗬𝗵𝗲 just did a store tour just a couple days ago. But if you missed that and you are interested in seeing a store tour of Elite Fireworks of Texas, highly recommend check the video on our YouTube channel so that way you don't miss on what's new at Elite Fireworks of Texas and much more. But I am here in New Hampshire, and of course this is a new territory for us here at Elite, because after all, we have never had a fireworks shop way up north. And of course New Hampshire, when it comes to the states, is, I mean, of course our neighbor Maine is a little bit more north, but you can't get much north than New Hampshire, right? So we are in the middle of winter here, so of course it's going to be a little bit different, and we expect the total business model to be very different than, of course, Elite Fireworks of Texas, because after all, at this time of this recording in Texas, it's almost 70 degrees. Here it's around 30 degrees, so huge difference on weather. But anyway, guys, I'm going to showcase you guys Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire, as this is our first ever New Year's Eve holiday special for a store tour of Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire. So let's get to it. All right, Pyros, so we are gonna start this store tour with a little bit of salt on the ground. As you can see here, we've actually salted the ground just because, of course, if it's gonna get below freezing, and sometimes when it rains and all that, we don't want people to slip off. So that's totally new, because in Texas, when it comes to cold weather, there's no such thing as really salting the ground. So it's very different. But anyway, guys, so as soon as you guys walk in at Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire, similar layout to Elite Fireworks of Texas, but a little bit different. But as soon as you walk in, on the right side, you are gonna have your standard up to 200-gram cakes. And of course, right here, for instance, we have gotten restocked. So if you have been following our journey here at Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire or even Texas, you do know that we've been constantly getting restocked with inventory. And one of the latest shipment was actually of Elite Fireworks products that we got from Elite of Texas. So exciting stuff. The only flaw for it, of course, we did not get any H-Town madness, but of course, I think we'll be okay, because after all, we don't expect here to be as busy as Texas. I know the Texas store got decent amount of H-Town madness, so they are all set in here. Now, as far as this store tour, so I'm gonna compare this to our first store tour that we did for the 4th of July season, because that was the first 4th of July season in New Hampshire. And of course, this is the first time for New Year's season, but definitely the inventory count, guys, we are at least 35% more variety, because after all, when the store was open for 4th of July season, it was so last minute, so rushed. And you gotta understand, the first day was June 24th, but if this was a seasonal fireworks state, June 24th is not that late. But because this is an all-year business, June 24th is extremely late. But nevertheless, we were glad that we were still open, just because a lot of you guys do shop, especially on the East Coast. A lot of you guys shop mainly for 4th of July. So as far as 200-gram cakes, guys, there's a lot of great variety from many different brands. Of course, some fan favors such as 𝗬𝗲. So you have tons of unique 𝗬𝗲 products. I mean, I understand even with these, like here in New Hampshire, 𝗬𝗲 is extremely popular, but even these items, you know, we have had customers that, you know, even though they buy 𝗬𝗲 items, they are seeing some unique stuff that typically they don't see in this part of the country. But of course, Brothers is also very popular. I mean, you cannot go wrong. And one thing that I like about all Brothers items, of course, as you can see here, 49 shots with wild cards. So definitely you get a lot of shots for your money. And then our friends at Winkle with their Fox Fireworks brand and Black Cat Fireworks and so on, a lot of solid brands. And of course, the Texas store does have great variety of Pyro Diablo items, but because it's a supplier that we get domestically and we typically get 1 or 2 pallets for that business, typically the shipping price is very expensive. Now, of course, you cannot go wrong with some of the classics. For instance, I mean, I've done videos on these specific items, but Mr. Rex, T-Rex, and any of the Spinosaurus or Retrosaurus, those are solid cakes. And guys, overall, you cannot go wrong with a lot of standard cakes. Like, for instance, another classic one here, of course, Bling Bling, which, fun fact, this is actually, about a week ago is the first time that we actually have this finally in store here in New Hampshire. So moving on along, we are going to showcase you this haul, which is all basically a mix of some standard, but mostly it's going to be large and extra large cakes. So definitely as we get further, the cakes get bigger. However though, don't get me wrong, there's some pretty solid cakes that even though they're small, they're mighty. Of course, this is one of them right here. And I don't know if you guys have bought this assorted box kit before, but this is Raccoon Squad from Raccoon Fireworks. And I've spoken about Raccoon many times, and of course I am a huge fan, just like I assume many of you are, because after all guys, Raccoon makes some very solid aerial items. So anything from cakes to mortars, Raccoon is solid. So in this one, you are going to get a total of 12 assorted up to 200 gram cakes. So definitely some of these now, majority of them, we actually sell them individually. So if you don't feel like buying the box kit, so $197 for 12 of them, definitely you can go with an individual option. Same thing with Diablo Park 1. Majority of them, we do have them in stock, one by one that you can buy. But of course, if you want to save a little bit more, that's why you got to go with the box kit. Over here we have some, basically these are some of the leftovers, if I were to say, from last season. And the reason we put them right here actually, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're leftover like people don't want to buy them, but we typically put products on rotation. And what that means is if we want to give you guys a huge variety, and after all guys, this store is pretty small for the variety that we like to carry. So we order items typically every 2 seasons, every 3 seasons. And of course we have some items that are staples here at the 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks that we order every season. But for instance, Old Ironside, Irish Legend, Current Event, these items, for instance, we didn't order any of them for this New Year's season, but definitely they are in a shipment coming for the upcoming 4th of July season. So just to give you a little bit of background on that. And then same thing right here. So we have compressed the size. So as you can see on the top, on the middle, as well as if you were to look at on the bottom, it's all different unique items. Now, of course, as we are growing the collection here, we are changing things. So for instance, a lot of the items, obviously we don't have the capacity that 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of Texas has. So for instance, we are limited on what we can fit on these shelves rather than, you know, having a bunch of storage containers in the back. Because after all guys, right now 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of New Hampshire has 0 shipping containers for storage, whereas 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of Texas has 26. So definitely very different. Now something that I want to add for you guys, as you can notice, for instance, in this store tour compared to the one from 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of Texas, you do notice that there's a lot more fireworks by the case that you can visually see. And of course, you'll be able to see that and grab in person. Now, of course, 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of Texas is joining 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of New Hampshire in this new business model. However, though, of course, the shelving setup is not the same. So by next 4th of July, we expect that 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of Texas is going to get a new redesign where the shelving is going to be very similar to 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks of New Hampshire. Because as you can see, guys, here, you have box kits in the bottom, and then you have individual units on the top. And of course, I know my brothers have talked a little bit about buy one get ones, but here at the 𝗲𝗍 Fireworks, we're not the biggest fan of buy one get one, but we understand that the whole industry carries some sort of specials like that. So we do have our own version here. For instance, you can mix and match for 77 bucks. So basically you're paying $38.50 per individual up to 500 gram cake, which is a phenomenal deal. However though, the icing on top is, of course, if you go with box kits, because after all guys, if you were to get one blazing fire, that's fine. You know, if you were to get you're looking to buy 1 or 2 cakes, so 1 blazing fire and 1 gushing water, or 2 blazing fire, that's fine. $77 for 2, but you know, if you spend just a little bit more, you go with a box kit. So realistically guys, if there's an item that there's a box kit on, you want to take the box kit, because after all, you save a ton. I mean, if we were to look at the Element, that's 117, and of course, we are out of the dynamic box, but we do honor it. Like I said, our inventory here is a little bit more limited. So for instance, we don't have the actual box kit for the dynamic box, but we do have the 3 cakes, so we will honor the special. So if you were to take the Element and the dynamic box, guys, for New Year's, you're looking under $200, you're getting 7 cakes. Yes, one of the cakes is up to 350 gram large cake, but the other ones, guys, you are getting up to 500 gram cakes, so phenomenal deal. Now, if you watched our previous store tour here for the 4th of July, you do know that right here we actually did have some shelves, but we actually ended up removing those shelves so that we can put more items, because after all, the shelving space on this one, I'll be honest with you, is just taking a little bit too much room. So basically, we are laying them on these sheets, but we just took off the shelf. This way we can fit much more and bulk up the fireworks store. Of course, right here we have a little bit more of of course, right here we have a little bit more of Pitbull. So for instance, Pitbull, if you guys don't know about Pitbull fireworks, basically they are similar to Raccoon in the aspect that they are actually a manufacturer, guys, because believe it or not, there's a lot of your favorite brands out there, they don't manufacture their fireworks. Even with us at Elite Fireworks, when it comes to quality, we are extremely strict. However, though, we are not big enough to actually have our own manufacturing facility in China. So we use third-party companies to manufacture our products. But for instance, companies like Pitbull or companies like Raccoon, they are actually manufacturers who are now stepping into their own brands, because Pitbull Fireworks, for instance, it's actually the company behind us, 𝗬𝗓 Fireworks, and this is their American brand as far as like fireworks. Now, right here we have Kuru Box, one of my favorite ones. For instance, the combination, guys, between Kuru Samurai and Kuru Ninja, you guys have to add it to your fireworks show just because the colors on this one are phenomenal. And then of course, if you want something unique, this is brand new. So we have Fancy Freedom, which is 3 up to 500 gram extra large cakes. So each one does one section of the show. And Window products, they do tend to be very colorful. So when it comes to Brothers, a lot of crackle and a lot of shots, but when it comes to Window, they're pretty colorful, but don't never trust the actual videos for Windows, because they do saturate a little bit of the contrast on the videos to make them look more sharp and more colorful, but still, nevertheless, they are very colorful. Now, this is our great wall of mortars. Now, I do mention that Sully actually did show you guys at Elite Fireworks of Texas the wall of mortars, but then again, here at Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire, we also have a great wall as well. But of course, if I were to say which store, if you were to ask me, 𝗬𝗲, does New Hampshire or does Texas have larger selection? Well, guys, first thing is first, I'll say check the video and be your own judge. But if you want the short answer, Elite Fireworks of Texas has the largest selection. I mean, guys, that store, of course, is established. It's a different beast. For instance, this one right now, this is a baby, okay? So the good thing though, for a new store that just opened, I mean, it's crazy to tell you, but since day one, this store could make the claim that it has the largest selection of canister shells in the East Coast. So anywhere from Florida all the way to Maine. Of course, there's certain states that they don't even sell fireworks, like one of our neighboring states. But the point being, for a new store just coming into a new state and to make the claim right away, that's pretty bold. Now on this side, so for instance, we're gonna, each season that you guys are gonna watch the store tours, the shelvings is gonna change a little bit. Like for instance, if you were to watch the store tour from previous season, you would notice that the shelving was actually a little bit different, but we are adjusting them depending on how the traffic flows. So for instance, over here, actually, we have more mortars that we did not have earlier when we showed the 4th of July store tour, but of course, we've increased the selection, and I think this isn't just an insider detail for you guys. I think we're actually going to move all of the assortments. As you can see, all the assortments we have over here, I think all of the assortments for the next store tour, they're actually gonna be all here, and then this whole wall, because this goes 4 feet, because this goes 4 feet deep, we can actually fit a ton more. And of course, guys, we are obsessed with mortars, and we really don't try to push a lot of packages. After all, guys, you do know that I'm very vocal on packages, and of course I am very picky. That's why whenever we are going to make our own select kits, we will make sure that all of the fillers, all of the giant amount of cardboard, all of that basically just to make it look like you're getting more, it's not gonna happen, because after all, we wanna make sure whenever we, just like with any of the products that we have manufactured, with assortments, it takes time. Because for instance, if we were to look at this one, the flash flood, right guys? So for instance, you can see here, there's a lot of products, right? So if we were to look, I mean, they vary from item to item, but right here, for instance, maybe there's 30 to 35 different items. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, we could just create a package, just like, for instance, I don't know if you saw from Pyro Diablo, for instance, the Diablo Park 1 that I just showed you earlier, actually. They just put a bunch of the same cakes, 200-gram cakes, all in one package, and that's fine, that's great. But of course, whenever we want to create our own select kits, we want to make sure we are very selective, and we just don't want to put any fillers. So that is why we really don't push a lot of assortments. There's a few exceptions. For instance, a worthy mention, which I have mentioned this before, but for instance, 𝗓𝗵𝗲 from Brothers. This one is a solid package. Price point wise is $7.69, so it's pricey, but compared to what they typically go in the industry, it's still a solid price. But do I think this is better deal if you were to buy it at Elite Fireworks, get the Max for $7.70, or pick your own fireworks for $7.70? Absolutely go with pick your own fireworks, because we have a very unique business model. Now, moving on to one more aisle of mortars, guys. So of course we have our Ginger Shell, Hydro Bomb. If you love noise, it's the best in class. But then again, we have the best in class in many different categories. So that's kind of like the thing, you know, depending what you like, we will have something special for you. Because after all, like for instance, I love noise, I love the Hydra, but maybe you love color, and we definitely have more colorful ones. Maybe you want big breaks, and we definitely have stuff that are much bigger breaks. This is new here at Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire, as well as Texas has this, but this is Treasure Chest from Raccoon Fireworks. And then over here we have some more cakes. Of course, we have our All-American Finale box, which is back in stock. And then turning this way, we have more NOABs, and then of course the middle section. But let's just go ahead and explore the NOABs real quick. So we did have a special on NOABs, both at Elite of Texas and New Hampshire, where you guys got NOABs, so 2-inch, 3-inch, it does not matter. All NOABs were actually for $75 a unit. So that is a phenomenal deal. We've never done that before, but that's why it pays to actually be active with us on our social media, because after all, you can save on fireworks. So basically any product that you see, you can also get a case. Of course, if you go with a case, it's a much better price point. So when it comes to fountains, we are pretty packed now, but the last couple of months actually we were running short of them, and typically that's not the case when it comes to shopping at the Elite Fireworks of Texas. But for instance, when it comes to fountains, here, since we can sell all year long, we just had Diwali, for instance, and the customers were taking a lot of small items such as fountains, sparklers. So definitely being an all year business is very different than the Texas business, just because the demand is different. So when there's specific holidays that tend to favor fountains, here there's actually a demand. Whereas in Texas, usually people buy for 4th of July and New Year, and it's very rare that customers will buy fireworks ahead of time to then use for another holiday. So definitely it's a learning curve, so it's a new experience, but then again, you know, it's exciting because it's something different. And of course, as you can see, fountains, I mean, there's a huge selection. Right here we have some of the handheld fountains, of course, and then we mixed it up right here. For instance, it's more of like handheld items. So majority are fountains such as the baseball bat, the fire lollipop, but of course you have the handheld lucky wheel, just jump, and so on. Right here we have basically a demonstration of the Ignite firing system. And then of course right here we have sparklers. Basically a lot of the smaller stuff are in this section. Basically, I mean, if you're looking for sparklers, all in all, guys, I mean, there's over 40 different sparklers to pick, so definitely lots of options. Over here, we have all novelty items, and as you notice, a lot of them, I mean, we have decent amount that are of paper, but a lot of novelties nowadays are being with plastic. There's pros and cons to plastic. For instance, if we were to look at loop-de-loop, for instance, after you use the fireworks, you can kind of like save this as a toy souvenir, but then again, typically when it comes to plastic items, they are a little bit more expensive than the paper ones. So definitely there's pros and cons. And then right here we have spinners and wing items. Personally, one of my favorite one is 𝗬𝗚𝗓𝗂𝘀𝘁. So this is the classic, so you get 6 of them. It's basically anything classic I really love. And then more novelty items, and right here we have the Mega Force Cracker Snaps, so adult snappers, we have the regular snappers and so on, guys, and a bunch of different smokes. Moving on to the next aisle, of course, right here we have, basically it's gonna be a lot of the noise makers in general, if I have to oversimplify it. So we start with Saturn missiles here. Typically, I mean, we have the 25 packs and 100 packs on the bottom, then we have some 200s, some 78 Havoc Rains, and of course we have our Captain America. What I love about this one, it lasts 3 minutes. So you typical 750 shot Saturn missiles, they last 2 minutes. This one lasts almost 3 minutes. And of course it's multicolor, so you're not just getting plain gold, so that's pretty cool. And then we got some more nuclear snaps, so adult snappers, but these are from Raccoon Fireworks, and of course more noise makers, leading all the way to our Elite Fireworks Apex branded firecrackers, which are selling really well. And of course we've got a lot of positive feedback from the community, so that's great. Right here we got bottle rockets, so still part of the noise makers, but a little bit more noisy and a little bit more unpredictable. So the difference between the Texas and the New Hampshire inventory, of course, all of these big ones typically Texas does have, but this section right here, actually, these are all stuff that are not actually allowed in Texas, because Texas has the regulation where any bottle rocket that's under 26 3/4 of an inch, that one they cannot sell. Now, New Hampshire, you can sell all of these small, amazing bottle rockets, but we are required to sell it with a launch tube, which we have them in the front. And right here we have some more parachutes. Not much to say about parachutes. Of course, they are there, they have their customers. So typically, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to parachutes, people typically ask for them, and then we send them to this section, but it's not an item that I typically recommend, just because during the night, they're not really meant, and most people shoot fireworks during night. We are moving to the Roman candles, and after that we are gonna showcase you guys the finale, which is of course the pro gear. But basically, guys, for Roman candles, very similar to Elite Fireworks of Texas, actually, because they've actually implemented this new style as well, where you have the box kits in the bottom and then you have on the top the actual individual units. But basically you save a lot more. Like Super Candle, if we were to look at, it's $5.77 a unit, but if you buy the box kit, they come, I believe it's like $4.33 a unit, so phenomenal deal. But anyway, guys, this is all the different Roman candles, because I'm not trying to make it too long as far as the video, but let's just go ahead and move real quick and show you guys a glimpse of the pro gear. All right, so as far as the pro gear, so I'm gonna do a quick showcase, because actually we just did a video on our YouTube channel specifically on all the pro gear. But basically, guys, if you want to elevate your show to the next level, this is the section. So for instance, if you want any of HDP racks, we have 16 shot, 24 shot, and of course 48 shots. And then if you need any fuses, let's say you want to make your cakes, for instance, you want to automate a little bit of your shows, we got the different fuses from 30 seconds all the way to a quarter of a second per foot. But let's say you want to make your own rack, we do sell the tubes. So we have 15-inch and of course 12-inch tubes, and then all of your Cobra fireworks needs. Now, like I mentioned, I'm not going to go fully on detail on this, just because I just recently did a full video on all the different items within the pro gear. But anyway, guys, this is 𝗬𝗵𝗲 from Elite Fireworks of New Hampshire. I hope you guys enjoyed this store tour, and if you did so, make sure you hit a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys in another video right here on our channel. Bye bye.